I'm Gentleman Josh Hill.
I'm Aaron Jeffrey.
I'm Johnson Jazz Busiest.
I'm Mike Malott.
I'm Rafian Stock.
Tune into
Donttap.
Donttap podcast.
Donttap
podcast.
Ron Jones.
Follow me on Twitter.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
To me, the Lions are the number one rankings out there. Those guys are the ones who really do their homework.
Man, that's why saying the rankings are bullshit.
From Canada.
Got a really high fight IQ.
But this fight, I'm telling you, it's a flip of a coin.
Levels to the shit.
Donttap podcast. We are back after a week off and excited to have Mr.PlusMoney in the building. As far as following you and what I've seen in the past while, you cover every sport and you're constantly bringing in what you call bags, right? You're constantly hitting at a pretty high clip, man. And although there's some times where you may have the falter here or there, it's like if someone's following you on a regular basis and it's not just a sell, it's you're cashing. You're winning at a high clip, and I know you've been on even a heater at this point, but it's awesome to have you on the show. I know you have your UFC ladder that you run and everything else, but Mr.PlusMoney, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, ever since the Miami Heat went on that run, and I took them to win the whole thing, kind of changed everything. And they didn't win, but we almost made it. So here we are, and MMA is my best sport. Let's get some bags, as you said.
And Nick, welcome back again. I know that you were already in the chat talking a couple spots that you had that you wanted to talk about too. Okay, so let's dig into the card. I mean, first and foremost, I think, and it's up to you, Mr.PlusMoney, if you want one of us to lead, but I think when we bring somebody in, we want to let them sort of come up with their first spot and their first lean. So what are you looking at for your first play for the UFC Fight Night card?
Absolutely. I know we get three. So for one, I built a little parlay. I'm going to do that at the end for right now. And I know you said don't do that, but it's my best spot, and I want us to win. So that'll be my third pick. For right now, I'm going to give us a dog. I think he's going to win outright. Give me Felipe Lins against Ian Cutelaba. And if you want me to elaborate more on why I got this guy, I mean, all in all, he's a bigger guy. He's got a large – at the end of the day, this guy is an animal. And I know Ian Cutelaba brings it, and the dog usually barks louder than he bites. This guy's always in your face, and he's a very what's the word, like a showman guy. But I'm not with him this week. I think he's in big trouble. I think he's in a weird spot here to fight a way better opponent. Felipe Lins on the feet, knockout. This is a different breed. This is a different level. This guy's on his way, in my opinion, to the top. I love how he looks. I liked how he looked in his last two fights, and I'm going to ride the train. So give me Felipe Lins. Cheers.
Yeah, and Felipe Lins definitely riding some momentum. I think he's somebody that I faded in the past with worries about leg injuries, but I don't think he's going to face too many leg kicks with the young Cutelaba. And I think you're probably looking at maybe I was sort of like a second round or third round on that for Lins, because I think Cutelaba is just going to he's going to gas. He just goes for that and goes for that. And although he does have a big overhand, I think Lins would pick him apart on the feet. And all he has to do is just tire him out a little bit. And Cutelaba is there live to be taken. So, Nick, what's your thought?
Yeah, honestly, I like Felipe a lot too. We didn't quite get what we thought we were going to get out of him whenever he came over from PFL. But I think now that he's moved back down to a light heavyweight, he's shown a lot of improvements. As somebody that was on Maxim Grisham in the last fight, although that fight was kind of dull, he showed a lot of fight IQ, was able to go the 15 minutes and carry some cardio with him. So I kind of agree, like, if Cutelaba is going to win, it's going to be early. But I see, if anything, Lins weathering the storm and landing a late KO or a KO in the second or third round.
And could even be a solid, even live bet spot as well, too, with the fact of, if Cutelaba gets a couple of takedowns in that first round, tires himself out the way he does, starts to suck wind, and then Lynch just starts picking him apart on the feet. Definitely could see that. And Nick, why don't you bring your next spot to the table?
Yeah, man, my first spot, and honestly, like a spot where, I'm still going with a favorite here, but not something that's overly juiced, which is a lot on this card, is Bill Algeo. Alexander Hernandez isn't a guy that I've been too fond of. He's kind of back and forth with his record. He's moving back down in weight for this fight, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the weight cut's going to be kind of detrimental to him here. And unless he's able to really hurt Algeo early, I think Algeo just kind of is the more complete fighter. And I think he's going to be able to take him down, probably submit him. and just kind of do whatever he wants. We've seen Hernandez gas out time and time again, and recently, honestly, he hasn't looked too great. So I like Algio a lot in the spot, man, and it's sitting at -140, which I think is a playable line for a card that's filled with chalk.
Yeah, I definitely could see that Algio could hang with Hernandez on the feet, and then Hernandez does tend to gas a little bit. If he goes for the wrestling, I mean, Algio's great off his back, or at least in that defensive wrestling off the cage. So, I mean, if we're looking at it, it's a sharp spot. I was trying to find an angle on that, and I think not a bad spot at all. Any thoughts on that one?
Algio is obviously, in my opinion, the better fighter. Third round sub, second round sub, something like that. However, could this fight go the distance? I could see it. So Algio decision might be the move. I just, for me, there's better spots on this card, and I don't know if I would bet it. Like, Hernandez could clip him in the first round. He's got power. He's got strength. But you're right. Algio obviously levels, bro, at the end of the day. And I like him by sub.
And with Hernandez, too, it's even another good live bet situation because he's a guy that sort of goes bang or bust and showing poor fight IQ even when he's gassed. Sort of seems out of place. So definitely a spot there as well. I'm going to lean in with my homer hat right out of the gate because my homer plays tend to hit at a high clip. And I love when the hate comes my way and I cash. It's just beautiful, Kyle Nelson. Deanna Belbita is sitting right now at +165 at Sports Interaction. And Carolina Kovacic, like, I get why she's getting love right now, -160 best at Pinnacle. But if you look at it, Deanna Belbita is 11 years younger. She's slightly higher volume in striking. She's a 4-inch reach advantage and 4-inch height advantage. She is literally a beast. I made this fun commercial about her being a beauty and a beast, but the reality is, like, she bites down on her mouthpiece and she throws with hell. And then if you look at it as well too, her wrestling now has been made a priority, and this is something I know a little bit more from being at House of Champions a couple of times and talking to some of the guys. She has been focusing on the wrestling a lot too, to be more defensive as well as to be able to take a girl down. So I just think that this is a case of momentum. But if you look at Carolina on the flip side, the strength of schedule is there, 100%. She does have high volume, but her last 3 wins on her win streak is against Vanessa Demopoulos, who I don't anymore, but called her Sloppy Demopoulos. And she's a grappler, right? She's a grappler that lets you hit her in the face. So we have that. Then we have Gomez Juarez. This was a good win, solid win over her. Got 2 takedowns on her, which was great. But then we go to Felice Herrig, who was 1 foot out on OnlyFans, who's a great grappler, but past her time when she was already on the way out the door. So we have a 3-fight win streak that doesn't mean much. And then she was on a 5-fight losing streak before that. So we have younger by a lot. And I don't usually bring up age. We have, an equal striker. I really like Deanna Belbita as a dog in this spot, but I think if you want to be safe, when that spread play comes out, I think you probably get her slightly plus money, maybe -105 at worst. But I think it's worth it because I think it goes to decision likely. If you don't want to mess with those judges can burn all of us, and they do it. That spread play is a nice way to look. So I just think Deanna Belbita is the play for me. What do you guys think about this one?
Nick, what do you think?
I think it's going to be close and competitive. It's not a fight that I really have a strong angle on because, as I said, like, Carolina is is a lot higher up there in age. And with Diana, you got to assume that she's going to be constantly making improvements. She looked pretty good in her last fight against Oliveira. But honestly, man, this would be the type of fight that I would I know we said the word live bet a lot, but, like, this is one that, like, you're going to get in the second round. You're going to see who's taking control. And it's just not something I like from a pre-bet perspective. If anything, I'd parlay the over. But at that point, I said I don't really have a strong side either way on this one.
I agree with you, homie. It's dog or pass. And for me, Belbita has shown strengths. The Warrior Princess, man, she's looked pretty decent even in her losses. I will say I really haven't heard of this Catalina girl as much. I know she's been in the UFC for a minute. I just looked at her stats, but it's like, yo, are you that good that you're this quiet to me? I can't even get a read on her. I think this is a perfect spot for Belbita to take the ranking spot and put her up near the top because she has shown that she could hang. So give me Belbita. I'm with you, bro. Dog or pass, +160. I'm riding. And again, listen, it's 27 versus 37. Actually, it's probably 38 now by the time this was put out. 27 versus 38. I'm telling you right, I'm 35. 27's kicking my ass all day.
And she's coming into that her own now. She's getting that extra strength right now. She's training her ass off and really has been conservative in the wrestling. So I just think it's definitely a spot. And I think if you want to be conservative, I do think this probably goes to decision. And I think Deanna actually probably could win, all 3 rounds really. But that's me being a little bit cocky with it. I think she wins at least 2 of 3. And I mean, all you need to do at plus 3.5 is get her once, right? She needs to win 1 round. And a closely contested fight with a higher volume striker who's getting better at wrestling. I'm just going to go with the momentum there. So, Mr. Plus Money, we will let you come in with your next spot.
Cool, man. And I like the plus money on that, man. I just like taking her outright, to be honest. But my next spot is another dog because, we only had 3 spots. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys some plus money. It's another dog. I'm going to have to take Alex Morono. Give me the better all-around fighter. Listen, Joaquin Buckley's last win was against Fialho, and Morono's last win was against Tim Means. Tim Means and Fialho just fought. Tim Means kind of whooped his ass. I mean, I'm taking Morono, man. This guy's a better all-around. You might think Joe Kim's going to come in and be better looking physical specimen. I get it. It's hard to bet against him sometimes, but no, man. We're smarter than that. We're getting the plus money. And if you got it when it came out, it was plus 165, all the way down to plus 140 right now. So I'm still taking Morono on this. What do you guys think?
Nick?
Yeah, honestly, this is my next spot. I've seen so many people backing Buckley, man, and Buckley's not a guy that I can ever get behind. He's shown pretty bad fight IQ in the past, and as you said, man, Morono's just an overall martial artist. Where, with Buckley, I feel like, he's going to throw those wild hooks that he likes to throw, but Morono's going to counter him all day, man. The wrestling's going to be there for Morono, and he can even grind this fight out, wear down on the big muscly dude on the other side, and honestly, I like him a lot, man. I was surprised at the line. I thought it should be flipped the other way.
I'm with you guys, and I have one more play I'm going to talk about too, but this was my one that was teetering between my 4th spot and my 3rd spot, and I was going back and forth on it, but yeah, I may as well talk about this one right now. I mean, Alex Morono's shown time and time again, and the ROI on the guy is ridiculous, where he's just gritty, he stays in the fight, and if you want to take it to the ground, he'll take your arm, he'll take your back, he'll take your neck. His guillotine is strong, and Buckley's been, I've been cashing on Buckley's takedowns lately because he's been doing D1 Buckley and trying to mix in the takedowns and mix up his fight. But I think I could get getting greasier with this one, honestly, but we don't really have to. I think Morono itself as a dog is already a good play, but there's a sub there. There's a late sub that could happen. I could see Buckley gassing out a little bit, and I could see that sub coming. 100% Morono's live for it. He's just got that. He's that guy that will fight for your dollar. He's that guy that will fight for himself, and he doesn't give up on himself, right? He's always in the fight, even when he gets tagged. Sharp elbows, solid Muay Thai as well, too. I'm with Morono all day. I think sharp spot, and I think it only solidifies it. That's going to be the Donttap dog of the week, because if all 3 of us are on that same spot, that's going to be the play, and I'm going to really maybe push the Deanna spread play. So I love when we get on the same spot. It shows that it's a high percentage hit. So definitely like that. Next play, Nick.
Let's add in on that round 2 sub, round 3 sub. I think we should.
I like it.
I mean, both of those.
I like it.
Quarter unit, half unit. Be smart. Don't go crazy, guys. But I mean, I think we're talking plus 1,000, plus 1,500 odds. Nobody's expecting that except for the guys who have seen Morono do it before.
I could definitely see Buckley trying to shoot for takedowns and leaving some arms in and just getting a little bit sloppy on top, and then Morono even sweeping him.
100%. His guillotine is serious, bro. It's not a joke. You saw him.
Okay, Nick, next spot. What do you got?
I got another dog, man. Just primarily a line to me that doesn't make any sense, man. I like Nate Maness against Matus Mendoza just based on the strength of schedule. If you look at Matus, he's only had 1 fight in the UFC, and the rest of his fights have been against not so great competition, where I feel like a lot of people are looking at Nate Maness because he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but losing to Gir and losing to Umar aren't something that you can get on this guy about. Other than that, man, he was on a 4-fight win streak. He beat Tony Gravely, Luke Sanders, Johnny Munoz Jr., who's also fighting on this card, and he's looked impressive in all of his wins. And I think he's just, he's coming into his own. You can say Matus is a little bit younger, fights out of shoot box, but he's kind of a one-rounder bust guy. And I think Nate Maness just has the skills to grind this fight out. And I don't understand the plus 200 on him. I think the line's really wide for a guy that's completely unproven in Mendoza.
Yeah, I'm even seeing it stretch on some books. I mean, I don't know how quickly this updates, but it's close to like plus 220. So they're all the way down to about plus 195. So yeah, I'm with you on Maness. I mean, he actually was in the TKO circuit. So he was in the Montreal regional scene back in the day. And he's always been another example of a guy that will fight for your dollar game. And when you have a guy like that can potentially finish the fight and or just win big moments, I'll take the plus money. Although I didn't dig into the matchup like directly back and forth. He's just live there, and I think that you have something in. I'm a sucker for strength of schedule and or more time under the lights versus one guy coming in on one fight. Doesn't do it for me. So yeah, I'm with it. I think it's a great spot, which will lead me to one more spot I wanted to. Actually, no. You know what? You can come in with a spot. We'll go Mr.PlusMoney, then I'll come in with one more spot to finish it off.
I mean, I'm really passing on this fight. I was going to say anyway, so I didn't mind if you were skipping for this one. Like, this isn't my fight. I would take the over 1.5 or 2.5, whatever it's at. I think this goes the distance. I think it's a decision. Do I think Maness wins? Probably. He probably outpoints him and out experiences him. But, and it teaches Mankato something here. But I'm not even – I'll pass on this one.
Yeah, my bad. I meant to get a take first, but I'm just jumping to the spot, man. We've got to find that money, right? So what is your do you have a next spot? What's your next spot you have?
I mean, you guys are probably down with this, and it's probably going to happen. I do like Joe Pfeiffer by knockout, and I like Grant Dawson inside the distance. And if you can find a parlay spot for that at a good plus money piece, take it.
I was even looking at just because of Grant Dawson and Bobby King, Bobby Green, whatever the hell he wants to call himself nowadays. That was another spot I was looking at. I love Grant Dawson. I think Grant Dawson with his takedowns and then aggressiveness and top control, and he lands and elbows, and he's aggressive with that, right? And his dominance is there. And I think although Bobby Green has a great defensive grappling, I don't think it's going to be enough really. And I think we're going to see a sort of passing of a torch, and Bobby Green's going to be put out to the bottom half of the division, and Dawson's going to take his spot. But
I want to take Grant Dawson by sub, but he might get.
I was leaning decision maybe. I don't know. I was thinking he might finish him inside the distance, but I'm not sure. I was looking at. I think Piper definitely by KO or at least inside the distance. Parlayed with Dawson is definitely a spot. So I'm pretty much right to line with you close. But what do you think about that? Just to touch on those two spots, Nick.
I want to see what the under looks like whenever it comes to the Joe Pfeiffer and Abdul fight, because if it ends up being close to the same thing, Abdul is super live for a KO. Not super live in the sense I think it's going to happen, but he's going to be KO or bust. Like, if you look at all of his fights, man, he's either starching people or he's getting starched himself. Except for that Buckley fight, which is kind of just a weird, boring fight that nobody really expected. I think, like, the over in that fight must have been, like, plus 500, but somehow we got a greasy split. But yeah, like, I would prefer to take an under 2.5 in that fight, but honestly, I do think Piper KOs him, and I think it's fairly safe.
Yeah, just from a standpoint, only because Abdul has his only win condition is that really when it comes down to it. So I get you looking at
similar numbers,
and it's not really a high clip thing. I think against Piper, I just think Piper's going to drag him down. I think Billy likes to throw little things out there, right? And he knows about his Philly boys, and he was saying that Piper might be really being aggressive with the jiu-jitsu and may not even want to play. So there's ways you can attack this as well too. If you look at inside the distance already, or we'll see. But man, I definitely think Piper is a beast, and that will lead me to actually one of my sort of chalk lines that I had to try to find something on, and we'll look at Drew Dober. So I know this is sort of a fourth spot. You guys got me in on the Morano, so I was teetering back and forth, but I still want to share this a little bit. And looking at him and Ricky Glenn, we got Drew Dober. They're both mid-volume strikers. Glenn a little bit more well-rounded than Dober is. But both guys been in the UFC for a little bit of time. Dober, obviously, a little bit more of a strength of schedule. But the difference is it's going to play out on the feet, and Dober's just got that power. He turns your button off, and he went like he's lower volume. He's about 4.5 strikes landed per minute, mid. But when he touches you, it's night. And although I know he got put out the pasture in his last fight, I mean that's Frivola. That's a different beast. That's a different conversation. That's not who Ricky Glenn is. Although 50% of his wins do come by KO. I mean, the other 25 and 25 are split between sub and decision. He's not necessarily a big power guy. He sets up his shots. And against Dober, he's just going to get caught, I think. So I actually like Dober. I mean, you're looking at just KO, it's minus 175. It's a little chalk unless you're going to parlay it up with, say, a Piper situation. But I do like the round sprinkling. Round one, not even KO, just round one is plus 175 just to cover your basis on everything. Round two is plus 325 for Dober. It's just something to look at because I think he's going to finish him in the first 2 rounds. I don't think it goes the distance. I think Dober, although it's a pretty chalk, and I don't like to try to dig on things. It's one of those things. He's just going to knock him out. Like, I don't see it going any other way. Thoughts?
Big bounce back spot
Yeah.
for Dover. Easy. I'm sure Nick's thinking the same. Do I want to take him by knockout? Maybe by knockout in round 2. I might sprinkle. I'm kind of staying away from the fight just because the line's so wide, bro.
It is.
Minus 520. I want to put him in everything, but it's like, God forbid he gets clipped again, and clearly he can go down. Yeah, Frivola dropped him, man. That made me scared about Dober. I'm going to pass on the fight. I like your spot. I like your angle. I would maybe, if I'm going to bet, go a quarter unit on round 2 knockout and a quarter unit on round 3 knockout by Dober. Because, he could still swing in the 3rd round, and his punches are crazy. So
even the under 2.5 is about minus 215. If you were looking to have like a 2-piece parlay that you're like one of your extra little parlays you were throwing a little something on, it's also some way somebody could attack it. Because although Glenn has gone the distance in time, he got knocked out in his last fight, and he's been in some wars. And I just see this is going to end. Sure, he could catch Dober for sure, but with the hesitance, if there is some, look at the minus 215 parlayed in some soup that you want to do, and that might be a look. But what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, honestly, I think he probably KOs him in the 1st or 2nd round. Like, I think there's a reason why the UFC gave him this fight. Like, Ricky Glenn isn't a guy that's looked overly impressive as of late, or for the last couple of years, to even say the least. And I think they didn't expect him to get KO'd by Frivola. I think Frivola was like a minus 200 in that spot. And I think this is just to get right. Like, Drew Dober's always been a company man, and I think they're kind of like, here, go out there. You're probably going to finish Ricky Glenn in the 1st round, and we'll put out that highlight reel and you'll get him back on track. So, but once again, that's not like things always work out that way.
We got all the spots out. If we were to look at a parlay quick between the 3 of us, we put a 3-piece together. I normally like 2 pieces, but because we got the 3 of us together, let's try to put a 3-piece each. So I sort of like where Mr. Plus Money was already going, and I'll even be the hedge if you guys want to fill the rest of it. I'll be the hedge with the Grant Dawson, just if we have him money line potentially, and then look at 2 other pieces that you could add to the table. I know it's a little bit chalk to add on to, but at least it leaves you a hedge option at the end. What do you guys think?
Nick, where you at, bud? I think we could throw Lins into a parlay. I think he's winning outright. I mean, Kutalaba's not the guy to me.
No, I honestly agree. And to be honest, by fight day, I think Kutalaba is going to be the underdog anyways. Like on some books right now, I think he's already kind of taken a bunch of steam. So it's probably good to get him in there now while the plus money's still there.
Give a good value to a parlay. I could almost even leave that as it is if you guys are both agreeing on it. So what would that be then? Grant Dawson money line with Lins. What do you guys got?
You guys want to throw something else in, like maybe the over on that Manassas fight? I mean, they could finish it though. I don't know. It's or how about the under on the Gutierrez and Jackson fight? That shit's not going to go to the distance.
That fight just got canceled about 7 minutes before we got on here.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, he's now fighting a Richie Lang or something. I saw one of my buddies sent it to me like right away. It was like literally 3 minutes before we got on here.
Who's fighting a Richie Lang?
Gutierrez. He's fighting.
Why don't we go with Moreno then? Morano. I mean, I feel like.
Well, we can even just keep him as the dog, though, right? I think honestly, man. What is the 2-piece at? If we put that together,
where is the 2-piece? It's probably obviously it's plus money with the minus.
Yeah, no. We can find because I think Morano as the dog by itself is already good. And then we look. I mean, I'm heavy on Belbita,
So
but
you put Dawson by finish.
we could just go Joe Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I mean, Pfeiffer.
Dawson Pfeiffer is money line, even though it's a little chalky. And then where
Let's
you're going
do
to get your
that.
plus is going to be your
Let's do
Lynn to
that.
the sharp spot to give it some pop.
Yeah, let's do that because that's a winner.
Plus 227.
A lot of
I
football.
honestly, guys, I've been loving one fight nights. I don't know if you guys watch one, but
It's high level, man.
super exciting. There's always knockouts. It's really Muay Thai, and the crowd really gets into it, man. It's really electric.
The cool thing about one is the fact that on Friday, whenever John Lineker was fighting, I bet him pre-flop at plus 150. But because the fights are judged as a whole on DraftKings, it doesn't seem like the live line moves as much. So as much as he was winning the whole fight, he hovered around plus 105 up until almost the third round. So I just kept hitting it over and over again.
I love that you said pre-flop. You're like the poker player. I love it. Mad funny. Yo, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you, bro. And
For Mr.PlusMoney, for Nick Eagle, tune into the Donttap podcast.
I'm Gentleman Josh Hill.
I'm Aaron Jeffrey.
I'm Johnson Jazz busiest.
I'm Mike Malott.
I'm Ruffian Stock. Tune into the
Donttap.
Donttap podcast.
Donttap.
podcast.
John Jones.
Follow me on Twitter.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
To me, the Lions are the number one rankings out there. Those guys are the ones who really do their homework.
Man, that's why I'm saying the rankings are bullshit.
Got a really high fight IQ.
But this fight, I'm telling you, it's a flip of a coin.
Levels to the shit. So many high level guys.
So like the line is crazy.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no, we're good. See, he's a pro.